Om Bhurabhuvah Svah Tatsavituravarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonah Prachodayat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Namaste, my dear friends. This is video number 10 on Viveka Chudamani of Adi Sankaracharya. This video starts with stanza number 120. Topic is the causal body, its nature. अव्यक्तमेत त्रिगुणै निरुक्तं तत्कारणं नाम शरीरम आत्मनः सुषुप्तिरेतस्य विभक्तव्यवस्था परलीन सर्वेन्द्रिय बुद्धिवृत्ति. This unmanifest, described as a combination of all three gunas, is the causal body of the individual. Its spatial state is deep sleep, in which all the functions of the mind, intellect, and the sense organs are totally suspended. Stanza number 121. सर्व प्रकार परमेस्ति प्रशांति बीर्जात्मना शिथित्रेव बुद्धे सुषुप्तिरेतस्य किल प्रतीति किंचन वेदिति जगत प्रसिद्धे. The mind remains in a subtle seed-like form in deep sleep, which is the state of complete cessation of all kinds of perceptions. Indeed, the universal experience in this state is, I did not know anything. So far, the three gunas have been explained exhaustively by Acharya Sankara. Now the causal body, called the unmanifest, is taken up for a detailed discussion. The causal body consists of the three gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas, in their manifest state. When the individual withdraws himself from the waking and dream states of consciousness, he is said to be in the deep sleep state. The waking state and dream state experiences are present in the deep sleep state in the unmanifest or the seed form. The seeds, when manifested at the subtle and gross levels, give rise to the dream state and the waking state respectively. In deep sleep, it is like the seed going back to the seed. When a man is in deep sleep, all the activities of his intellect, mind, and sense organs are temporarily at rest. This state is known as the state of the unmanifest, avyakta, because neither reality nor the world of objects, emotions, thoughts is manifest and available for his cognition. In short, it is the state of non-apprehension of reality. The experience of the individual in this state is, I do not know. Complete ignorance is the characteristics of this state. For where the intellect is arrested, the intellect projected objective world will not be there. The total absence of all kinds of knowledge is directly experienced in deep sleep by all creatures everywhere. This level of pure and complete ignorance and total non-apprehension is the causal body. Not self-description. Stanza number 122 and 23. First 122. देह इंद्रिय प्राण मनो हम दाह है सर्वे विकारा विषया सुखाद्य है व्योमादि भूताने अखिलम च विश्व म्यक्त पर्यंतमिदम हन्यात्मा. The body, sense organs, pranas, mind and ego, etc., and all their modifications, the sense objects and their pleasures, etc., the gross elements such as ether, etc., the whole universe up to the unmanifest, these constitute the non-self. Stanza number 123. Maya Maya karyam sarvam medadi dehe priyantam asdi daman ataman tatvam vidhi tvam maru mari chika kalpam. Everything is due to the effect of Maya from Mahat down to the gross body. Know thou that these and Maya itself are the not self, therefore they are unreal like the mirage waters in desert. So far, all that constitutes the unatman, not self, has been explained. All equipments, body, deha, sense organs, indriya, physiological functions, prana, mind, mana, and the ego, am, all modifications, vikara, like pain and pleasure, etc. Sukhdaya, all sense objects, Vishya, the gross elements, Bhutani, and the perceptible world of objects, emotions and thoughts, Vishwa up to the unmanifest, Avyakta, all are the not self, Anatman. The entire world within and around up to the Vasanas, that is the world of matter which is other than the self. The Atma is Anatman. This Anatman is the creation of Maya due to non-apprehension of reality. Maya is that which is not. All things created out of a thing which exists not must be unreal, entirely non-existent, though they are all non-existent for the time being. They are perceptible to us in our own delusion, hence they are mere delusions. Though the mirage in the desert can be seen, it has no reality. Similarly, the entire range of things consisting of unatman are unreal, mere whips of the mind's imagination. In order to know reality, all that is unreal has to be rejected and so transcended. The next verse onwards, Sankara explains the nature of the self, the Atma, which is to be known and attained. Stanza, the self, its nature. Stanza number 124 and up to 135. Stanza 124. Ath te san pravakshami savrupam paramatmana yad vijjay naro bandhan mukta kevala mashnute. Now I will tell you of the real nature of the Supreme Self, realizing which man is freed from all his personality, encumbrances, bondages, and attains liberation. Gita enumerates them as the Aksetra and gives the following list. Gita chapter 13 verse number 5 and 6. The great elements, the ego, the intellect, and also the unmanifest, the 10 senses, the mind, the 5 objects of the senses, desire, hatred, pleasure, pain, the aggregate intelligence, fortitude, the etc. with its modifications has thus been briefly described. To mark the conclusion of the previous idea and to inaugurate a new theme of discussion, Sankara says, I shall now very clearly explain to you the nature of the Supreme Self, having explained the not self. Once the self is fully apprehended subjectively, man's personality will be released from all persecutions of matter with its low demands. He will be released from the bondages created by his own unintelligent and pain giving identifications. Not only will he be liberated from his unnecessary sorrows, but he will also come to experience the pure oneness of his own self. Kaivalya is the state of liberation from the BMT, PFT, and OET. When one is released from all the equipments and their objects, pure knowledge is experienced. According to the rishis, this is Kaivalya. Sitting on a rock, you can see the movement of a river, but if you are on the river itself, you will see no movement. The observer must be motionless in order to observe movement. No mutation can be recognized without reference to an immutable factor. As the pure subject, no more are there any limitations in one. Such a person is called a seer. We must note very carefully that he is not seeing anything, he is a mere seer. There is nothing for him to see. This state is being described in great detail in the following verses. Stanza 125. Asti kaschit swam nityam aham priyatan alambanam avastha sakshi san panchakos vilakshan. Something there is which is the absolute entity, the eternal substratum for the very awareness of the ego. It is the witness of the three states and it is distinct from all the five seeds. When I say I am happy, I am unhappy, I am joyful, I am sorrowful, I am educated, I am worried, in all these conditions, the external world around me has changed. The conditions of the body, of the mind, of the intellect, and of the external world of objects have changed, but all through these changes, the subjective sense of I-ness has remained changeless. In all conditions, good, bad, or indifferent, this something in our life within us has remained unchanged, and this is generally indicated by the word I. The subject I remains a changeless entity, common in all changes, experiencing them all. In each one of us, it takes up different attitudes at different places and at different times, such as childhood, youth, and old age, waking, dream, and deep sleep, happy, unhappy, etc. In all such conditions, behind the very subject I, there is a common changeless factor, the consciousness. This factor is by its own nature formless and changeless, depending upon which we have the constant experience of I, our individuality. This subject in each one of us is a mere witness of the three states of consciousness, the waking, dream, and deep sleep states. In the waking state, it is the waker. In deep and in dream, it is again I, the dreamer. And when fast asleep too, it is I, the deep sleeper. In these states of consciousness, the I remains a mere witness. It neither undergoes any changes characteristic of these states, nor does it have any share in them. This I-ness gains vivid experiences of all the three different states. Let me give you an example to clarify the idea. I, the individual, going to Surat, Ahmedabad and Bombay, gathered to myself three different experiences at the three different places. Let us say at Surat I was loved, at Ahmedabad I was honored, and at Bombay I was insulted. Surat is not Ahmedabad. Surat and Ahmedabad are not Bombay. I was not at Surat, Ahmedabad and Bombay at one and the same time. The experiences of three different places at the three different times are different, yet all these experiences are mine because I was the common factor in all the three places and at all the three times. This is so in the waking, dream, and deep sleep states also. The waker himself becomes the dreamer and the deep sleeper and gains the experience of the dream and the deep sleep. But during these changes in the states of consciousness, he himself never undergoes any change but remains as mere witness. Atman being the witness of the three states of consciousness, it is indeed something other than the five seats: the food seat, the vital air seat, the mental seat, the intellectual seat, and the bliss seat. The Atman is not identified with and therefore is never limited by any of these seats. It is something other than them, knowing them and their individual involvements in the world around and within. Stanza 126. Yo vijanati saklam jagrat swopan susuptisu buddhi tavirti sadbhavam bhav mahamityam. That which knows everything that happens in the waking, dream and deep sleep states, that which is aware of the presence or absence of the mind and its functions, that which is the essence behind the ego, that is this. This verse expresses the import of some of the famous Shruti passages such as those found in the Kena and Brihadaranyaka Upanishads. The faculty in me because of which I am able to know constantly all my experiences of waking, dream, and deep sleep is called the Atma or Self. By this faculty, I am not only aware of the world of objects around me, but I am also equally aware of the equipments of knowledge within me and their main functions. I know my intellect, the instruments with which I know other things. All my inner equipments, antahakarana, are also objects of my experience from the standpoint of the self. Canopnist, that which cannot be seen by the eye, but by which the eyes are able to see, know that alone as Brahma and not this which people worship here. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Ne drashte drashtaram pashe ne srute srotaram renuyat ne marte mantratmam manviya ne vidyate vidyataram vijaniyah esate atma sarvantar ato anne dartam. You cannot see that which is the witness of vision. You cannot hear that which is the hearer of the hearing. You cannot think that which is the thinker of thought. You cannot know that which is the knower of knowledge. This is yourself that is within all everything else, but this is perishable. My mind and intellect, where all activities are disturbances, virtis, I am aware of them all. When there are no mental disturbances, I am equally aware of the absence of all births as in deep sleep. The agitations and also the absence of agitations are known. I am aware of not only my intellect and the thoughts in it, but also of the absence of thoughts. This knower I is this, the great consciousness to be realized as the subjective essence. In each one of us, it is this consciousness alone which knows constantly the world of objects around us, as well as the intellect and its thoughts, nay, even the absence of thoughts. Remember, the intellect can investigate only the presence of things. Consciousness can illumine their absence as well. This grand knowing principle constantly enlivens us. It is the self we talk of as this, the subject. Stanza number 127. Ye pashyati swam sarvam yam ne pashyati kaschan. Yasche chetarayati buddhyadi ne tadyam chetiyatayam. That which sees all but which no one can see, that which illumines the intellect, etc., but which they cannot illumine, that is this. That which by its own light sees everything at all times is the knowing principle. This is the same truth in all physical bodies, so every body's experience is the experience of the divine. Whenever anybody knows anything, he knows it because of the same knowing principle. That is why this principle is also called the all knower. Consciousness knows through me my experiences, through you your experiences, and through her her experiences. Thus, through every physical body and every mind and intellect at all times, it illumines everything with its awareness. But consciousness cannot be known through any of these equipments. The sense organs, the mind, etc., are all made of matter. Therefore, they are inert. That which gives illumination to these equipments to function in their respective fields, and that which is not illumined by any of these equipments, that is this Atma, this Self. Consciousness is the source of all sentiency. This great reality lends sentiency to all matter vestures, but the matter vestures have no sentiency of their own to lend to the consciousness. The Upanishad rishis roar out that this whole world is illumined with his light. Stanza number 128. Yen visvam idam vyaptam yamne vyapnoti kischan abhar updim sarvam yam bhant manu bhat yam. That by which this universe is pervaded, but which is not pervaded by anything, which when it shines, the entire universe shines as its reflection, that is this. That by which all this is pervaded, yet nothing pervades it. We are not able to understand that since our mind is not tuned up to its frequency. Our mind is tuned up to the frequency of OET. That is why we are not able to recognize it ordinarily. Even though it is present everywhere, it is all pervasive. Pervasiveness is the nature of subtlety. That which is subtler than the subtlest must necessarily be all pervading. The all pervading cannot be pervaded by anything else. All that exists does so only because of its support. If my ears and eyes have the capacity of hearing and seeing, it is only because of the consciousness. They function because of this light of consciousness which shines through them. These verses explain the Atma and point it out to be the subjective consciousness in our bosoms. Therefore, these verses end with the course that is this. This indicates nearness. So it has been brought within our bosom at a point nearest to us. This. Stanza number 129. यस्य सन्निधि मात्रेण देह इंद्रिय मनोधिय विषयेषु सौख्येषु वर्तन्ते प्रेरिता इव. Mundakopnishad. There the sun does not shine, nor the moon, nor the stars. These lightnings also do not shine. How then can this earthly fire? Verily everything shines after him who shines. This whole world is illumined with his light. That by whose very presence the body and the sense organs, the mind and the intellect perform their respective functions like a team of servants prompted by their master. The Atma is that factor by whose mere presence the gross, the subtle, and the causal bodies function in their respective fields. Here it is to be understood that Om, the Self, is not doing anything, it is not the doer. By its mere presence, the matter equipments function. Purusha only looks at Prakriti, Prakriti gets enlivened and does everything. When Krishna is nearby, the gopis get excited and dance about. The Sriravirti, Indriyavirti, Manovirti are all to be understood as the gopis. The gopis look after the cows and tend them. Similarly, the virtis tend the cattle in us sense organs with their sense objects. By the mere presence of consciousness, the sense organs, the pranas, the mind, the intellect, even the vasanas function in their respective fields without interfering with each other. Had consciousness not been present, none of them would have functioned. Thus, it appears that the consciousness prompts the equipments. They function as through prompted by the self. All living creatures, consciously or unconsciously, draw their energy from the same light, and each one acts according to his own vasanas. The sun does not interfere with anyone's activities. It is not even conscious that so many living creatures are drawing their nourishment from it. In the absence of the sun, all activities end, but the sun has nothing to do with the activities that go on. Similarly, the body draws its energy from the consciousness and the individual according to his vasanas. Consciousness which lends its energy never interferes with the activities of the individual, yet in its absence no activity would be possible.